Do you think it's an instrumental gain towards a Olinsky-like activist?
Well, this is where the fun begins. So, is Bitcoin making people freer? This is really the question. In the long run, Bitcoin is forcing us to confront the fact that in all probability Intel processors have been compromised by the NSA. Somewhere in there, there's probably 50,000 transistors worth of weirdness hidden in some very clever way, sitting on every Core i5 waiting for ping. And as we're in this position of building more and more and more important things and public interest things on top of cryptography, at the same time as the Snowden stuff is coming out and eating away our faith in our hardware, which is the only rational conclusion you can come to from the Snowden leaks, we're in this kind of position where we're beginning to say these things are profoundly socially important at the same time as we're getting evidence that they're owned by the NSA. And I don't think that any parliamentary figure, right, anybody in the parliament that's talking about this stuff is unaware of the Snowden material. You don't tend to be involved in electoral politics without getting some notion of what the security services are like. So, yeah, we're talking about Bitcoin and we're having all this thinking about how to regulate it or whether we should regulate it and what is it and all the rest of this stuff. In the back of your mind, there's that unease of like, yeah, but all of this wealth is sitting in a system which is completely controlled, if they want to act, by the American Secret Services. So I feel like just bringing that to sharp awareness, like, wow, we could move even more of our financial system onto these kind of instruments and we're just increasing our vulnerability to attack by the spooks. Wow. And it's that process of awareness that we are in this kind of, somebody described it to me, Leslie Frost, as a death camp with iPads. Or you can think of it as being a wireless telescreen from 1984. Big Brother has Wi-Fi. Once you get broad-based awareness that that is the condition that we actually live under, that we have more surveillance than almost any dystopia ever imagined, and that's today, never mind tomorrow, and then you look at the undermining of the freedom initiatives like Tor and Bitcoin by the state, that's the point where you begin to step into Alinsky territory and think, actually this is really screwed. We're not going to get our freedom back until there is no NSA to watch us. The gradual closing off of the rat holes of awareness is what Snowden has given us as a gift. Actually, there is no way that we can believe the microprocessors are secure, and at that point everything that we have is hanging in a bubble if the NSA doesn't choose to reveal its hand by using its capabilities, which is after all the trick that was used to defeat Hitler. The Nazis continued to believe Enigma was secure even though it had been compromised. If the Intel processors are compromised, it is the highest secret and it's not going to be used casually, but we have to be realistic that all of this stuff is floating in space depending on that bet. And when we finally face that, all the people that believe that cryptography can bring us freedom have to look each other straight in the eye and say, only if we own the supply chain and we can keep the NSA out of it. And at that point, welcome to real politics.